So in this video, we're going to talk a little bit about how to decode what the control key would be for an existing A2 system. Let's say you don't have the codes or you're not sure what the control key is for a particular core. This video will show you how to decode that. Now for demonstration purposes, I do have the control key here just to show you that it does operate this core, and as we decode that, we will check the key cut to make sure that we're accurate. As I mentioned previously, this is for an A2 master key system. That's the math that we'll be using to decode this core. It is a small format interchangeable core, and it's 7-pin. Now the primary goal is to access each barrel from the bottom of the core by removing the cap that holds all the pins inside each barrel. Once we do that, we're simply going to remove the top pin from each barrel in order to determine what size it is. Some of the basic tools you'll need is a pin ejector, a pin kit, a caliper, preferably a digital one, a hammer, and a key gauge, which we're just going to use to verify that that's the correct key cut. And lastly, you'll need a small block of wood, preferably something that's soft, a softer material, and you'll see why here in a minute. So let's get started. First, you're going to take the pin ejector, you're going to turn the core upside down. And going to the very back barrel, that's going to be our first key cut. So that's the first pin we're going to want to identify. Firmly place the pin ejector pin in the core. Give it a couple of good taps. Carefully remove the pin ejector. And now slowly rotate the block of wood and the core simultaneously. When you remove the wood, you'll notice that the top cap is embedded in the wood, and it's been removed from the first barrel. As you can see, there's no cap. You can see the spring inside there. And now let's go ahead and remove the spring. I apologize for technical difficulty on focusing there, but we've now removed the spring, and let's move on to removing the top pin. You'll notice I'm slowly pushing all the pin stacks to the top and then trapping just the top pin that I'm removing from the barrel. Carefully place the core on your bench. And we are now ready to identify what pin size this top pin was. The way we're going to do that is now we're going to use our digital caliper. Go ahead and turn on the caliper, recalibrate it to 0. And then now we're going to measure the thickness, not the diameter, but the thickness of this particular pin. In this case, it's a 0.075. That's the thickness of this pin. Now that we've verified that is a 0.075 size pin, we can go to our pin kit, take a look at our chart, and you'll notice that it is a number 6 top pin that registers as a 0.075. So now let's go into our pin kit and let's pull out a number 6 pin. What we're going to do is we're simply going to verify that that's the actual same size. So again, measuring the thickness of this pin and not the diameter, you'll notice this registers as a 0.075. So now we've identified that this is a number 6 pin. Now let's take a look at the formula that's designed to determine what the key cut should be now that we have the top pin size, which was number 6. So how do we decode the key cut? Well, you subtract the number 13 from the top pin in each barrel. In this case, our top pin was a number 6, which when you subtract that from 13, you get 7. Therefore, our first cut should be a 7. Now let's check that out. Using the key gauge, we're going to identify that the first cut should be a 7. The key lines up correctly, and we have now confirmed and identified that that first cut is a 7. Now, using this same process for the remaining barrels, you should be able to determine what the key cut is for each barrel. Starting from the back and working your way to the front, you can identify the top pin in each barrel and ultimately create a new control key. Thank you for watching.